CIA. They put a chip in my brain.
Alright, so for today's video, I'm going to talk about why you don't owe the world anything. Why being unemployed is based. Why being a neat maxing, is based. Because there's this thing, right, that basically society tells you that you have to do XYZ. You have to do certain things. You have to fulfill certain requirements in order to exist, right? You are brought into this world without consent, right? And then what ends up happening is that you are essentially forced upon. Well, it's like terms and conditions. Like whenever you have like the terms and conditions of using a social media app, or terms and conditions of using like a website or an app or whatever, right? That they hit you with the terms and conditions, except this time like you can't. It's almost like if you want to survive, you have to click accept, right? Or at least the system, the majority of the system is structured to be that way, right? And so there's this whole idea that you owe society, or you owe the world certain things: your labor, your time, your effort, you complying by certain social norms, right? All this stuff, right? But there's also the thing, right, where it's a two-way street, right? If the world doesn't owe you anything, then why do you owe the world anything, right? And especially like in today's world, right? If you think about like specifically, like all of the things that that motivate a person, that all the things that could ever motivate a person to work hard, be a part of the system, be an upstanding member of society, of society, right? Being an upstanding member of society, cheering for your sports team, paying taxes to Israel, so they can bomb 10 children's hospitals, all that good stuff. Going to just ticking all the boxes, right? Doing all the things that you're supposed to do, following the instructions, following the Lego instructions that the system prints out for you, right? All that stuff, right? Drawing inside the lines, right? All of that stuff doesn't matter because it's a two-way street. If the world doesn't owe you anything, then you don't owe the world anything. If you look at like modern society, all the things that motivate people, right? Like I was saying, right? Like having a family, having your own life, buying a house or whatever, none of that exists anymore, right? And so this whole idea that like oh my gosh, like if no one works, and if no one's a part of society, and like no one wants to work anymore, no one wants to do this, no one wants to go to college, no one wants to go like apply for shit jobs or whatever, right? There's all this stuff, right? Like nobody wants to do that anymore because the juice ain't worth the squeeze, right? None of the incentives are there anymore, right? And it makes me think of like why would anyone want to live to old age, right? Because that is like the threat, that is like the big sort of scare that people do, is like, oh, but you have to do this or else you won't survive. Like what makes you think that I want, like in today's Sodom and Gomorrah society, where you're going to rent everything forever, what makes you think that I want to live to 70? I mean, just think about it for a second. Like, do you want to live to 70 running on a hamster wheel? Or like it's like a thought experiment. Think about it this way: would you rather have a short life spent doing what you want? It's like you do what you want and then you die at 23, 24, or like 22 or something, right? Or you get to live to 100, but you spend your life working, doing all the things, right? Working a 9 to 5, fulfilling all your responsibilities, paying your taxes, pay those bills, pay those banks, pay back that credit card debt, pay back that student loan debt, right? Like all that stuff. Would you like? I feel like the quality of life matters more than the quantity of life at this point, right? And that is like a thought experiment that really changed my outlook on everything. It changed my life because now I'm not as scared of like dying. Basically, I'm not as scared of like, oh, but if you don't do all these things that you don't want to do, then you're going to die, and you're going to do this, like all these bad things are going to happen, and you're eventually like, I would rather die in a shootout with the cops than get a job again. Getting a job, getting a job almost made me kill myself. If you know the history, if you're a frequent viewer of my channel, you already know this story. But if you're not, basically, I there was this one day where I had this huge existential crisis from, working a job. I was working a job, I hated it. I low key wanted to, like I low key wanted to, like bomb the place every single day. But one day I just ghosted my job, and I almost electrocuted myself just because I was just like, okay, like if this is what life is about, I don't want to be here. I want to be on this planet. I don't want to be on this plane of existence, right? But then I was like, like, I'll see how long this lasts. I'll see if I can enjoy it while I can. And then if it gets to like the end of the line, then oh well, right? I don't have to. And that's the thing, is that like death means that you don't have to be here anymore. And so if life here sucks, then death is the exit button for the shitty video game. Like I said in a previous video, right? So being concerned about, all of the like all it's almost like the all of the things, all of the fears of like the fear of death is the primary thing that runs this simulation, runs this matrix, right? The fear of death, the fear of leaving this physical body, because people think that this is all there is, right? That is like the main thing. And like all of the other fears, like the fear of like not being able to pay your bills, or the fear of like not accomplishing things, like, oh, you need to accomplish things because life doesn't have inherent value. Life is based on monetary value, right? Like in order for you to have value, you have to work. You have to work, and you have to be something. You have to accomplish. You have to win a Nobel Prize and be number one in this, number one in that, or else because life doesn't have inherent value, right? Right? Because that is what the system essentially tells you, is that oh, life doesn't have inherent value. You have to work, work, work. You have to work for it. And so what they do is they sell life for a price, right? You can't even exist at the bare minimum without there being yet again the forced terms and conditions being placed upon you, right? And so it's almost like the inherent value of life is diminished in this realm, in this matrix, in this simulation, in this plane of existence, right? And so the whole thing, right, the whole the whole reason I'm making this video is to basically say that you never owed the world anything in the first place, right? The terms and conditions that they try to force upon you, you don't have to accept them. And to sort of overcome that fear of death, that fear of oh, but like if I if I don't get in line, then oh, I'm gonna die, right? Yet again, the fear of death, right? The fear of going without, the fear of not not being able to sustain your existence, right? Yet again, it's that thought experiment. Would you rather live a short life doing what you want, or like a long, you get to live till 70, and you get to rent an apartment forever. You get to work a job until you're 70. Like do you have brain damage? That's what you want to spend your life doing? That's normal. It's considered normal to spend your life doing mostly things that you don't want to do to enjoy just like a little sliver your entire life. Like that's what life is? No. Right? So you should pick the short life spent doing what you want instead of the long life spent in a miserable way. Right? And so if your lifespan, and yet again in today's society where it's you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, World Economic Forum, fluoride in the water, chemtrails in the sky, 5G giving you cancer, nanobots in the vaccine, clown world, right? Do you really want to live till 70? Like is it really worth it to try and live to old age in today's world? Right? To not trying to live to, I mean, trying to live a long life, if it's worth living, is cool, right? But doing mostly things you don't want to in order to survive until you're set, in order to live to old age, basically, right? In a society that, or in a world where life isn't worth living for the majority of people, right? Right now, like right now, my life is pretty cool, right? I find my life worth living right now in the present moment, right? But yet again, at any given point, am I going to do mostly things I don't want in order to prolong my own suffering? No, right? And so I think that more people should think about this. More people should think about this thought experiment, right? And especially like the way that the world is going today, the way that the world is going now, right? Would you rather have the short lifespan spending doing what you want, or would you rather do it the system's way, right? Taking all the boxes, fulfilling the terms and conditions, doing mostly things that you don't want in your entire life, just to prolong your own suffering, because that's what it is. That's really what it is. Like you have to work to survive, work to survive, work to survive. Like what that is, it's not life. It's survival. It's basic bare minimum slop, a slop existence. If you do that, right? So it is better to spend yeah, to have a short life spent doing what you want than a long life spent in a miserable way, right? And to sort of be okay with living life on your own terms and dying on your own terms if it means that you exist on your terms and you're not acquiescing to the cardboard cutout horror movie monsters that this haunted house is run off of, because this world is run off of fear. It's basically like a haunted house in the way that it is structured, right? In the way that it maintains its control, the way that the way that this system controls things in this world. Right here, let me, yeah, because sometimes my mic dies in the middle of my videos. But anyways, the way that this world maintains control of the people plugged into this matrix, the people plugged into this simulation, is through fear. It's through cardboard cutouts, and you have like these demonic entities. They're not that powerful, but they dress up in these big costumes to try to scare you into acting in a predictable way, right? To try to scare you into doing things that you don't want, and into generating, or into prolonging your own suffering. Oh, but I have to work to survive, work to survive. And so you work to prolong a life that isn't worth living. And so you generate that negative energy that the system runs off of, right? So don't fall for it, right? Don't fall for it. Become, and I think that this is going to be the thumbnail of the video, become unemployable, right? Live life on your own terms, even if it means dying on your own terms, right? Even if it means that you don't accept the terms and conditions, even if it means that like you're not paying your taxes to Israel. Oh no, oh no, you're spending your life in a way that you want to, and you're enjoying your life. No, you have to work 10 hours a day to live in a broom closet for $2,000 a month. No, you can't enjoy life. No, you're supposed to be working. You're supposed to be working like I am. That's what it sounds like, right? That's what it sounds like when people withdraw from a system that produces diminishing returns, right? And here's the thing, that like I've applied to like a bunch of different jobs too, and all of them have like, I can't even get a job as a fucking shelf stuffer at Walmart, right? As a as like a cashier or whatever, like at Target, right? Because like none of those jobs even exist, and good, I don't want them, right? But yeah, I mean the job market's cooked anyway, so it's not like anyone can get a job anyway at this rate. But yet again, live life on your own terms. Don't be scared by the system, right? Don't be scared by the fear of death, right? And yet again, in today's system, right? I'll say this point again: who wants to live who wants to live till they're 70, the way that the world is going? Who wants to live to old age anyway? Right? Is there like it's almost like there doesn't seem to be a benefit to living a long life in today's society, right? It used to be that like, oh, if you live a long life, then you get to experience more good stuff, right? That's the implication, that the longer you live, the better life gets. But it seems to be the opposite for a lot of people, right? The longer you live, the shittier life seems to get for the majority of people, right? So why would you do things that you don't want to prolong something that gets shittier over time? It seems illogical to me, right? So like I said, become unemployable, stay unemployed, eat those chicken nuggies, stay comfy, stay in your blankets, play those video games, work out at home, eat your mom's spaghetti, right? Stay beautiful, stay unemployed. Bye.